time, so I will yield back. Thank you all.
Recognize Mr. Cloud for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I think I'm the third Texan in a row, so appreciate you, Chairman, on hosting this important topic. Ranking Member Weber, this is a very key topic, certainly with national security, economic implications. I come from Texas as well, and we have a very diverse energy portfolio with wind, energy, oil, LNG, all in our district. And so I really appreciate the fact that we can have, with some of the discussions that have gone on here, a real pragmatic, solution-oriented discussion in this committee. And so appreciate that, Chairman and Ranking Member. Dr. Webb, I was wondering if you could talk to us. We just mentioned commercialization. How does Sandia encourage private companies to take on the commercialization of basic research applications? Your written testimony talks about the bayonet reactor and other projects. Could you expand on that?
The basic approach to commercialization involves one of two processes. If we have identified something in the early research stage that's promising, we'll make an announcement, a public announcement, so there's fairness of opportunity to U.S. industries to come and join us in that research process. And so we would then share that intellectual property between the U.S. government and the industry, and they would, at the end of that research process, be experts in that technology. And that's an excellent sort of process we call a cooperative research and agreement process. Secondly, if we've made investments, whether it's through DOE funding or through our internal lab-directed research, and we have breakthroughs, we will go through a process of patenting that research, and then again, we make that available in a fairness of opportunity process. And there are a number of other tech transfer mechanisms that are used. Sometimes we will allow staff to go for a 2-year leave of absence to work for those companies to carry that research into application. And so it's really our objective to ensure it gets used. And we have multiple of those mechanisms to do that. So the examples in my testimony really are examples of individual technologies that have gone out, but embedded in there are these processes that allow us to do it.
Would you care to mention a couple of those projects that have been successful that you?
Well, certainly the one that I mentioned in my initial testimony of the PDC bits, we did not patent that, but that was done with industry, and now it's being used for 90% of the wells and holes drilled on the planet. That's an extremely obvious, successful example. The bayonet technology that you brought up that I also mentioned is one that converts methane to farm fertilizers and other kinds of precursor chemicals. That's been commercialized. It's been transferred to small industry. There are wellhead scale demonstration projects under our commercial process underway. And then we've got this Memzyne technology, which is another one of these CO2 capture technologies that's basically biomimetic. It's patterned after the wall of a cell in the human body, and that technology has been commercialized through a partnership with the University of New Mexico and is now getting put into application.
And could you speak to some of the work that the lab has done on carbon capture and underground reservoirs?
So we have really two focal areas. One is to understand what happens to CO2 when it is injected into the subsurface. It goes into pores, fractures and pores in the subsurface, but does it stay in a liquid form? Does it mineralize? Does it become permanent in that place? And a lot of that work was funded under the DOE Office of Science, a series of research projects, 9 years with the University of Texas. And that was very successful in producing a science base for what happens in the subsurface. We're also part of one of the field demonstration activities where we're doing a enhanced oil recovery demonstration project in the Farnsworth Formation in the Panhandle of Texas. And that's allowing us to monitor the front or the movement of the carbon dioxide into the subsurface using geophysics and other tools to watch that process and to understand where it goes. How long does it stay there, and is it captured?
I only have 10 seconds left, but let me just say, I appreciate the work on practical solutions for an American solution. I've thought that technology is more the answer than it is retreating to a pre-industrial age America. So appreciate the work in that all